G'day all and welcome back to Freo Faithful today for the preview for tomorrow's clash at the MCG against Melbourne. We're on Broadway. This is blockbuster, primetime football, Saturday morning at the MCG in front of 15,000 on a cold autumn morning. This is just going to be an absolute dire affair. It's not going to be dire, hopefully, because we have won 3 on the bounce. We are looking at very near to our best. Some of our new guys are really clicking. And on the other hand, Melbourne are 0-5, and they're looking the worst that they've looked in about 10 years. So, hopefully, those two things combining means a very happy Easter weekend for Dockers fans and Dockers players. Let's get into this preview. First of all, the team news. So, Melbourne have hit the axe. They have dropped 3 players. So, Jack Henderson's been dropped. But the 2 surprising omissions, I mean, they haven't been good this season. But I still wasn't expecting Simon Goodwin to actually swing the axe on these 2. So, Jacob Van Rooyen and Bailey Fritsch have both been omitted. So, these 2 have been in real bad goal scoring form. And they've brought in 3 forwards that they are hoping will fix their woes. So Colson Tholstrup, Tom Fullerton on debut, the mature ager, and Daniel Turner all come in for Melbourne. 3 forwards. So it's a completely new forward makeup for Melbourne. It's not very good on paper, I'll be honest. If you look at that front six, it's Colson Tholstrup, Tom Fullerton, Cade Chandler, Daniel Turner, and then Spargo and Pickett. And you'll have obviously guys like Melksham and Petrarca running through there. So it's not good. Compared to some of the forward lines we've been playing. You know, that Richmond forward line last week, I'd probably put it about the same level as that. At least they did have a few threats there. Look, Melbourne still have a few. You've got the Cosy Picketts, you've got the Charlie Spargos. I rate Cade Chandler, but how that all work as a makeup is going to be very interesting. For us, we've just swung the axe with the one change. We haven't really swung the axe, it's a forced change. Paddy Voss out with that suspension. He'll be out for the next 3 weeks. Pretty much perfectly in time for when Luke Jackson's expected to come back. Meaning that I'm not sure when the next time will be that we see old Vossi in the team. But we've loved Vossi this year. He's brought some real energy on the weekend, you know, with that celebration. And maybe brought a bit too much energy by absolutely swinging his arm at Nick Vlauston. So he's gone. And Big Omac, for the first time in 398 days, is in the AFL team for the Fremantle Dockers. At his 3rd AFL club. Absolute journeyman, Oscar McDonald. He played back in that one game he played for us last year, the round 1 win against the eventual premiers in Brisbane. And he played very well for those 3 quarters before he went down with a knee injury that was very serious and ruled him out for the whole of last season. But great to see Omac back. And will he play back? Will he play forward? That's going to be something we discuss. Because what is going to happen? So JL's pretty hell-bent on this 3-tall structure we go in with. Interestingly, there's a chance we don't go with that. There's a chance we just go with some extra depth down back. But I think the main reason that we will go with the 3rd tall and that JL will stick to its principle is that we need a second ruck to pinch hit. And whether that's Draper pinch hitting in the back half and an Omac pinching in the front half, or maybe we play Cox forward, that's the debate. So Draper will definitely stay down back, but I think he will pinch hit from the back half. One of Cox and McDonald will have to play forward. I'm thinking Oscar will play forward. I think he actually might line up on his brother, Tom McDonald, funnily enough. So I think that's what will happen. Draper will pinch it from the back half. McDonald will pinch it from the front half. McDonald will play forward. Look, I'd probably rather Cox play forward, but I just think that's what will happen, considering Omac's been playing a lot of forward at Peel, and I'm pretty sure JL will just want to keep Coxie in that back line to sort of keep it settled. So that's what I think will happen. And, you know, it's going to be a very interesting watch. I'm sure there'll be some in-game changes if something's not working. But yeah, that pinch hitting role is going to be very, very interesting because historically you just put a Josh Tracy in there, but Josh Tracy's leading the Coleman and you don't really want to be throwing him around in the ruck and putting him at centre bounces, especially with Paddy Voss out and leaving Jayanis as your main anchor doesn't sound the most appealing thing. So yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting watch, the whole ruck situation and who plays forward. Maybe Cox and Omac will sort of swing and interchange with each other. Another thing I want to take a look at is Tom Sparrow. So Sparrow has done a few tagging roles. He's not necessarily doing it to the ability of what Melbourne would want him to be doing, but a tag is always worth a look. So I don't think it'll go to Andy Brayshaw. Brayshaw's been incredibly damaging the past couple of weeks. We've also got Hayden Young back in the side. That being said, I don't think Young will be tagged in his second game back from injury, despite him playing really well against Richmond. So I think that Tom Sparrow very well may head to Caleb Serong. If Sparrow gets named as a sub, he could be an impact tagger, almost. Get subbed onto tag. I think Tom Sparrow will tag, is the point I'm trying to make. Whether that's as sub or in the 22, I think Serong will cop a bit of attention. I don't see it going to Brayshaw or Young. So that's another thing we have to keep an eye out on. Interestingly, I'm looking at the Melbourne team. They've got 14 premiership players in there. Is it 14? I've got the number here. They have... they've got 14 premiership players. It is absolutely insane, the talent that they've got in this team. That being said, I'm looking at it and I'm like, we really should be doing a number on these guys. On paper, on form, just overall, in every aspect, we really should be getting a big win on these guys. The only injury they've got is Jake Lever. Their only, best 22 injury, I'd say. Like, you've got guys like Shane McAdam on the injury list, but Jake Lever is the only main guy that is injured that would be in their best 22. We are very, very different in that aspect, and we are still looking a lot better on paper. We'll quickly take a look at the injury news. Nat Fyfe, he's just copped a setback in the waffle. He's going to aim for a post-bye return in round 14. Luke Jackson, he's got a couple more weeks, and he's set for a round 8 return against St Kilda, hopefully. Noddy, he's only got 4 more weeks, and he'll aim for a return in round 10. Sam Sturt's copped a little bit of a setback, but he's 6 weeks away. Wags is a test, so Wags could have actually played this week, but 99% sure he'll play next week against Adelaide if we choose to pick him. Walters just keeps getting along with this niggle, which isn't ideal, and Walker's the main one that's going to be out for 3 to 4 months, aiming for probably the last few weeks of the season or finals for Walks. So overall, we've got a lot of pillars that could very well play best 22 football for us that are out, and we're having to bring guys like Oscar McDonald into the team and keeping guys like Bailey Banfield in the team, and we've still got guys like Neil Erasmus and James Aish in the wings. So we've got the depth there, but we've still got a lot of injuries on the list compared to Melbourne, who don't look fantastic, but have only really got a guy like Jake Lever out. And then they're starting to drop guys like Van Rooyen and Fritsch, who aren't in great form, but it's still very surprising to see Goodwin go in this direction. Let's take a look at the keys to win. We can't be naive. This is the exact point I made last week against Richmond. And I think Drew said it in the pod during the week, that we're in the stage of the season where it should be just business as usual, rock up, stay process driven, get the 4 points. We just have to do the fundamentals. And if we do the fundamentals, we are a better team than Melbourne. It is as simple as that. And if we do that, we'll walk away with the 4 points. We'll walk away with 4 wins in a row and heaps of confidence heading into a really tough run of fixtures, including the Adelaides, the Collingwoods, the Saints, and the Giants. Teams like that. So we've got to stay very process driven, rock up, and get the win. Because if we lose, being 3-3 isn't anywhere near as appealing as being 4-2, especially 4 wins in a row. And it would put heavy doubt into our Friday night game next week against Adelaide. So yeah, we've got to rock up and get the win and not be naive. Because as I said before, these guys have 14 premiership players. This 0-5 start is uncharacteristic. Like, given all the media attention they're getting, they'll be hungry and they'll put out a performance at some stage in the coming weeks. And I'm just hoping the performance they put out isn't this week. And if it is this week that they decide to show up and decide to make a close game of it, then not only will I not be surprised, but I will be very, very determined that this team is actually wary of it and that we still just play our best football. Because I think our best football beats Melbourne best football. So if Melbourne actually rock up and put up a performance this week, let's hope that we aren't naive to this and we get the win. We can't rely on contest. Contest is something that we have done very, very well in the past few weeks. And I actually don't think it's necessarily been something we've relied on. But we certainly can't rely on it this week. Despite Melbourne's woes all over the ground, their contest is something that, while it hasn't necessarily clicked to start the season, they've got the names. They have got 3 generational talents and an absolute superstar in Jack Viney. Those generational talents being Gorm, Petrarca, Oliver. With some younger guys running through there, like the Lindsays and the Langfords and even the Tom Sparrows. and the Trent Rivers. So they've got guys, and Trent Rivers and Tom Sparrow is premiership players as well. So they've got so many premiership players. They've got so many great guys that will be rolling through the middle. We cannot rely on contest. We have to get field position in other ways, and we have to use the ball well on the outside. It's not going to be raining in Melbourne. Might be a bit dewy, I'm not sure, but the conditions, I believe, on Saturday are going to be picturesque. So if the forecast holds up to its word, then we just have to do the fundamentals correctly, not rely on the contest, and just use the ball well on the outside and gain field position in that way. Because our skills, based off the sample size of this season, have been far better than Melbourne's, and we've just got to stay on top of them in that aspect. And last but not least, don't let them kick a score. At the moment, Melbourne can't kick a score. And we aren't allowing scores. So, excluding the 147 we conceded against Geelong, which was absolutely abhorrent, we've conceded a average of 66 points in our losses and wins this season, which is very, very good for our defensive unit's been strong for a while, despite the couple poor seasons we've had. Jade Rawlings, our new back coach, has really brought an extra layer of security. The highest score that Melbourne have kicked this season in their 0-5 start is 74. That is so bad. 74 against the Giants, 66 against North Melbourne, 62 against Gold Coast, 46 against Geelong, and 57 last week against Essendon. So, against a backline that don't really allow scores, and against a team that don't kick scores, let's hope we can hold Melbourne to around that 66 mark and hopefully lower. Because I've got full faith we can. I've got full faith we will. And I think our scoring should take care of itself if we can just hold them to a score like that. My tip on this game, Fremantle by 48. There is, on paper, on form, on system, in every metric that matters, we should be winning this game. And by a big margin. There is no reason why we shouldn't rock up to the MCG, a ground we play very, very well, and get the 4 points. So I'm hoping that is exactly what happens. We should do a number on them. It's expected, as I said, in every metric that matters. And apart from the chance of a very, very Dockery loss, which this would be, we've seen Dockery losses over the years, I'm hoping we're past the Dockery stage. And I'm hoping we're in for a nice, relaxing Easter weekend. Let me know your thoughts on the game down in the comments, and let me know your tip down in the comments. Thank you all for watching. I'll be live tomorrow on my channel, UCAT. The link will be in the description for the watch-along, where you can come watch the game with me. As well as that, post-game, I will be live on here for the fan camps. And yeah, let's hope I'll be chatting with you guys after a very nice and relaxing big win tomorrow. Look. That's what we expected last week. That's exactly what we got. Let's hope we can just rock up and get the 4 points again while playing a very nice brand of football. Thank you for watching. Up the Dockers, and let's hope we get the dub tomorrow. Cheers.